Hello and welcome to this accessible virtual tour of the Land as Kin art exhibition curated by Amy Redfeather, and which was exhibited at the Muck Cultural Center from October through December 2021. My name is Erin Schalk, and I served as the Muck Cultural Center's artist in residence for 2021. This accessible virtual exhibition tour is part of my culminating end of residency projects, and I am proud to be your narrator for this tour. To gain a greater understanding of the ideas and conceptual themes addressed in Land as Kin, I'll read this quotation from artist and curator Amy Redfeather. Quote, "Land as Kin has been developed as an exhibit with the intentions of creating a positive self-reflection that is inspired by the identity of Southern California Native people and their relationship to the land. The goal of presenting this body of work at the Muck Cultural Center is to capture color, sound, and feeling of family that reflects the faces of young and old Native California tribal people that is compelling and contemporary by elevating everyday objects, photography, paintings, beadwork, and ceramics in hopes of helping people to see the connection with the land through the unseen. A special thank you to Pechanga Cultural Center for providing content support. Amy Redfeather, Curator." End quote. And for more information about this exhibition, please visit www.landaskin.org. Before we continue to the artworks themselves, allow me to explain the steps we've taken to achieve a higher level of accessibility with this virtual exhibition tour. First, the tour is available in two main formats, including number 1, narrated audio tracks, and number 2, a video slideshow with audio narration and video captions. No matter how you choose to experience this virtual exhibition, you'll soon notice that I provide detailed descriptions of each artwork discussed. This practice is typically known as audio description or descriptive narration, and by composing an illustrative verbal picture of the artworks, I'm assisting blind and visually impaired viewers with experiencing the works in their mind's eyes. In addition, the video slideshow format offers viewers with low levels of residual vision to increase the size of the artwork images on a computer screen or specially designed television screen for easier viewing. Moreover, we've also provided closed captioning specifically designed to assist viewers with hearing loss, as well as viewers who may experience diverse learning styles and prefer to read rather than listen to text. This accessible virtual tour will be presented in the following format. First, we'll begin with an in-depth visual description of a selected artwork. This is where the practice of audio description for individuals with vision loss comes in. I will describe the primary physical features of each piece, such as size or dimensions, colors, textures, imagery, position in the exhibition space, materials, and processes or techniques used to make the artwork. These detailed physical descriptions assist viewers with vision loss to imagine how the artwork looks or feels. To note, the Land as Kin exhibition is extensive and features numerous artists and their work. Unfortunately, providing audio descriptions of all artworks by all participating Land as Kin artists is beyond the scope and time constraints of this recording. We strove to select a variety of artworks in terms of media and conceptual themes, as well as artworks that have the potential to be readily imagined by an individual with vision loss, including individuals who have been completely blind since birth. In accommodating these conditions and concerns, this virtual accessible exhibition tour respects and recognizes that all participating Land as Kin artists are highly accomplished and have powerful meanings imbued into their artworks. Second, we'll listen to the artist's own words about the ideas, meanings, and stories connected to the artwork, as well as excerpts from the artist's biography when provided. Throughout this virtual accessible tour, you will encounter 5 artists' work and explore everything from fiber, painting, and printmaking to ceramics and sculpture. In addition, as you listen, it's highly recommended to pay careful attention to the imagery, themes, geometric patterns, and complex narratives and symbols that underpin each work of art and deepen the conversations on Indigenous and Native American ancestry, history, contemporary culture and artistic practice, and long-standing artistic traditions. And now it's time to begin our virtual exhibition tour of Land as Kin. If you are experiencing this tour as a sighted person, i.e., a person with enough vision that day-to-day tasks and interactions are not disrupted for you, and do not have hearing loss, I highly encourage you to spend at least 5 minutes or more with your eyes closed and see what it is like to experience visual art through your auditory senses. Upon entering the Muck Cultural Center's art gallery, you arrive at a large, movable wall, painted cornflower blue or medium blue hue. Text runs across the horizontal center of the wall and reads, "Land as Kin." The land and kin are in large orange capital letters. The as is smaller, lowercase, in a script-like font and is a vibrant lime green. Positioned immediately below the as is an image of a bright, grass-green hummingbird with wings outstretched in diagonals, pointing to the text above. You sidestep to the right a handful of paces past the wall and into the gallery, which is flooded with natural sunlight from the large glass windows on the left wall. Yet you sense there is something behind you. You turn around and find that there are 3 wire frames holding a series of clothing. Each wire frame supports a blouse and skirt. It's almost as if 3 women are standing within the gallery space. You've happened upon an artwork titled Story Skirts, created by artist Faye Thomas. Working from right to left, you begin taking in the unique features of each set of clothing. The wire frame on the right wears a black, short-sleeved blouse, and the texture of the fabric appears soft, slick, and slightly reflects the surrounding light. A light tan purse trimmed in bright red and turquoise blue has fringe across the sides and bottom. The purse is worn diagonally, with the shoulder strap beginning at the right shoulder, crossing over the torso, and the purse itself rests at the left hip. The blouse and skirt are cinched together with a silver or pewter-colored belt. The ankle-length skirt, like the blouse, is a shimmering black. There's an image of a skull, surrounded on all sides by a series of feathers that begin in maroon at the base, then transition to yellow, then to white at the middle, then maroon again at the tips. You step 2 paces to the left and now stand in front of the story skirt positioned in the middle. This wireframe supports a long-sleeved blouse in black, covered by a vest in saturated reds, oranges, and violets. The vest is primarily red, with geometric diamond-like designs running horizontally across the chest and ribcage, surrounded in bright orange. Triangular pyramid-like shapes in violet are positioned across the collarbones and shoulders. The frame wears a necklace with a large stone that is shaped like a conch or conch shell and about the same size as a young child's fist. The stone's color shifts slightly in the natural light, from pale gray to pale pink and tan, and to white. A thin black belt with turquoise stones rests across the waist, supporting a skirt in black fabric with fine, reflective, and iridescent threads that stretch across in wave-like or curled lines, perhaps like the lines used to record musical notes. At that moment, you notice the bottom half of the skirt where the 3 musical notes in red float across the fabric. A quarter note at the bottom left toward the hem, and if you're not familiar with a quarter note, it's a circle with a vertical stem, an 8th note above. Again, if you're not familiar with an 8th note, it's a circle with a vertical stem and then a flag-like shape hanging from the top of that stem. And on the right, 2 8th notes. And 2 8th notes are typically 2 side-by-side circles, again with vertical stems, and are connected by a horizontal band at the top. These red music notes surround the outline of a female figure seen from the back. She appears to wear an ankle-length red dress, and her long black hair flows in strands behind her. Her head and strands of hair are also outlined in silver. Silvery wings are also positioned on each of her shoulders, and this figure bows forward, her head held downward. You take 2 steps to the left once more and find yourself standing in front of the last wire frame. This frame wears a golden blouse with lighter gold dots in shimmering smooth fabric. The short sleeves puff gently at the shoulders, and the edges of the sleeves and blouse gather together with elastic. The blouse is a button down and punctuated with 3 light tan buttons down the center. A necklace is draped across the wire frame, and this necklace is made from tiny, irregularly shaped turquoise stones. The blouse and skirt are gathered together with a wide black belt, accented with a series of silver circles in the center. The silk-like black fabric of this skirt is strongly patterned with handprints of young children, perhaps particularly young women and girls, that have been pressed into bright red pigment and imprinted against the fabric's surface. 2 especially prominent hands rest side by side against the waistband and belt of the skirt. These hands are in an intense, prismatic sort of red, almost like lava, and both the left and right hands are outlined in a thick white line. A similar, smaller red hand, outlined in white, is placed toward the bottom of the skirt, near the hem. 2 figures are present at the bottom center of the skirt, a tall adult woman with a featureless face. Her head and shoulders are shrouded in white fabric, and she wears a long black dress as she reaches her left arm and hand toward the second figure. Next to her stands a young female figure, very much like the figure from the second skirt. The young woman or girl in red with long strands of black hair that rest against her shoulders and mid-back. Horizontal bands of white and gold, along with black fringe, finish the skirt's hem. Artist Faye Thomas describes story skirts in the following quotation, quote, "The inspiration for the story skirts comes from historical and indigenous struggles such as our shared residential school experience, missing and murdered indigenous women and girls, and our connections to our lands and ceremony. When planning new skirts, I always keep current events that need more awareness in mind, like our fight for clean drinking water on our home reserves and high suicide rates." End quote. You step outside of the gallery entrance area and you find yourself pausing at a quiet corner space within the Muck Cultural Center's gallery, in a small niche where 2 walls meet. Before you is a vertical canvas, a rectangular shape that is taller than it is wide, measuring 20 by 16 inches. In the very center of the canvas grows a large tree with a thick brown trunk. The tree's branches take up just over the upper third of the canvas. These branches also range from quite thick and knobby to thinner twigs, and they radiate upward to the right and left. Light, almost gauzy layers of green leaves grow from the branch ends, creating a protective canopy of emerald foliage. A multi-hued sky shines from behind the branches and tree trunk, and the sky combines brush strokes of pale sky blue, light blue-violet, blue-green, and subtle dashes of gold. In the bottom 1/3 of the canvas, the tree sits upon a field of textured grasses which range from bright yellow to yellow ochres and golds to darker tan colors. Many of the tree trunk's thick roots are visible on the surface of the land. 2 strong roots carve through the grasses on the left, 3 roots on the right. A woman sits at the base of the tree trunk, almost in the painting's center. She wears an ivory-colored dress with long sleeves, and she sits in a cross-leg position. Her hands and wrists rest against her knees, and her palms face upward, pointing toward the tree branches above. She faces forward, and you glimpse her oval-shaped face, but no facial features such as eyes, nose, or mouth are depicted. She has long, full black hair with faint violet highlights that waves downward past her shoulders, arms, and wrists. The tree's roots surround her on either side, and strands of her hair seem to grow into the tree roots themselves and take root into the earth. A small, oval-shaped bowl sits in front of her on the ground, and tendrils of translucent white smoke or vapor rise up from the surface of the dish. Artist Lauren Nicole describes this painting, Poku 1. Quote, "Reflects the unique bond women share with Earth. Both have inherent wisdom, an astounding capacity to heal, and the ability to bring life into the world. This embeds a sacred connection to spirit and an understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, all relatives. Both have also faced harm and abuse, having their gifts and resources forcibly taken by those in a self-serving state of consciousness. When the views towards one change, the attitude towards the other will follow. Therefore, by respecting the women in our families, communities, nations, world, we respect Earth and all of her many gifts and vice versa." End quote. Artist Lauren Nicole also provides deeper insight into her creative work through her artist statement. Quote, "Like most artists, art has been an integral medicine in my life. Artistic expression has opened a path to healing challenges and traumas that I faced within my lifetime. Although these pieces share the underlying themes present in all of my work, healing and a woman's perspective, they are also a celebration of the relationship I have with the world around me. Plant and animal relatives have given wisdom and healing to many areas of my life, and to share that relationship in these pieces is both a blessing and an honor." End quote. After contemplating Lauren Nicole's Poku 1, you step deeper into the Muckenthaler Gallery and down a handful of stairs, past the dining room and into an open room with a skylight, which allows ample natural light to pour down from the ceiling to the tiled floor. You step directly to your left near a series of portable gallery walls that display a range of richly colored paintings and monoprints. Hanging on a side wall and flanked on both the left and right by gallery walls rests a framed monoprint titled Bird Dreams, Roman numeral 33, so XXXIII, Bird Dreams 33, by artist Gail Werner. It measures 20 inches tall and 16 inches wide. This vertical monoprint, and if you're not familiar with monoprinting, this is a type of printmaking where the artwork or image can only be made once, hence there is only one original piece, is primarily in soft pastel hues of green, peach pink, violet, and crimson red. In the center upper third of the print is a crimson red circle, and in the circle center is a red outline of a star shape with petal-like points that radiate from the star's center. A small bird overlaps these red outlines. The bird's head faces right and is shown in profile, and the bird's body forms a diagonal line with tail feathers pointing toward the right. The bird's belly is a soft golden yellow color, and the features on the face, wings, back, and tail are medium gray with cream highlights and charcoal shadows. Behind the bird is a light yellow-green trapezoid of colors which blurs at the edges, followed by hazy bands of peach pink and violet on either side. The bird is perched on a cluster of sage-green grass blades and twig shapes that rest in the very center of the print. Each blade shape is outlined in a fine, darker green line, and this cluster of many lines give the impression of a nest. The cluster seems to float atop a light red-violet cloud, which transitions to tan at the left and right. In the bottom third of the print sprouts a thick cluster of plant stems, outlined in thin, dark green lines and surrounded by a pale cream background. Saturated crimson flowers sprout from the ends of these stems. The shape of these red blooms resemble miniature fingers, pointing in V's to the left and right. Each of these plants reaches skyward, leading the eye up toward the bird above. Artist Gail Werner describes the inspiration for this series of artworks. Quote, "I am part Cupeño, Luiseño, and Kumeyaay, 3 tribes located in San Diego County. My work is a reflection of the Southern California desert and mountain landscapes, as well as the creation stories and traditional songs called bird songs that are sung throughout this area. In these stories and songs, plants and animals are the characters and are considered to be people. The stories and songs tell about how the world came to be and how the people came to be where they are. Some of the bird songs tell about the journey of the people, which is said to parallel the migration of the birds. They tell about what the birds see on their journey, the mountains, deserts, night sky, and other landmarks. At times I include abstract pictograph, Native American rock art, designs found throughout the region, dot patterns, chevrons, diamond patterns, spirals, and helixes. Designs from Southern California indigenous basketry and vessels used for food and water storage often make their way into my work. The indigenous people of Southern California are known for their beautiful, intricately woven baskets, which often use flower, snake, and geometric designs. My great-grandmother, Salvadora Valenzuela, was a noted basket maker. I find inspiration hiking in Anza Borrego State Park, which was home to the Cupeño and Kumeyaay, as well as the Kuwia. The surrounding areas continue to be home to these tribes. I think about my connection to these lands through my ancestors who have lived there for thousands of years. I think about how we are connected to the land through our stories and songs." End quote. After spending time with Gail Werner's series of paintings and prints, as well as thinking about the local flora and fauna that you are drawn to, you cross to the opposite end of the gallery. Here you find a variety of three-dimensional sculptural artworks. You pause in a corner of the gallery in front of artist Rowan Harrison's ceramic pieces, including a unique, never-before-seen creature perched atop a gallery pedestal. Harrison's ceramic artwork is titled Mutant Six-Legged Desert Animal Form and was hand-built with low-fire white earthenware clay and hand-painted with black and green underglaze. In addition to clay and glaze, Harrison also used metal nails in this ceramic sculpture. To visualize this ceramic sculpture in the round, meaning an artwork you can experience in 360 degrees, imagine an off-white oval approximately the length of your forearm, plus or minus a few inches. However, this oval shape is significantly wider than an average-sized forearm, closer to the width of 2 or 3 forearms placed together. This oval is the mutant six-legged desert animal form's body, and true to its name, there are 6 small legs with feet underneath the oval body, 3 legs on the left and 3 on the right, and the creature's large oval body casts shadows over the legs. You pause to take in the upper part of the oval body. This is where the creature's facial features are located. At the top of the oval are 2 large, protuberant, circular eyes, which have been painted with dark olive green in the center and black around the edges. The position of the eyes atop the creature's face, as well as the bold pupils and irises, give the impression that the mutant animal is staring straight upward. The creature also has a long, triangular-shaped nose that tapers at the end, similar to the shape of a carrot, and this carrot-like shape appears at the opposite end, the animal's tail. Along the rim of the oval is the animal's mouth, painted in a curved, dark line with a small half-circle hanging out on the side, much like a tongue. Above the creature's eyes are 2 spiral shapes that appear similar to ears or antennae. When imagining these spiral shapes in your mind's eye, picture snail shells growing upward. These curving spiral patterns repeat across the mutant creature's body on the left and right sides. These spirals are slightly more open, reminiscent of swirls that are filled with dark olive green and outlined in thin black lines. The creature also has a stripe of the dark green which begins as a thin line above the nose, expands into a triangular shape above the eyes, and becomes a scalloped pattern across the animal's back. Yet what captures your attention first is a series of 18 metal nails, 2 rows of 9, that have been placed into the creature's back and stick upright, similar to porcupine quills. It's interesting to consider the nails as part of the overall sculpture. Are they designed for protection like armor? Do they indicate injury? Or could it be both, predator or prey? After taking time to envision Rowan Harrison's mutant six-legged desert animal form as a creature come to life, how the animal might move and sound, the creature's chosen home in the desert, and so forth, you step back into the center of the gallery room. Midday sunlight pours in from the skylight above, and you feel the warmth of the light on the surface of your skin. At this moment, you notice a series of high-contrast, primarily black and white sculptures hanging in between Werner's multi-layered paintings and prints and Harrison's intricate ceramics. You step forward and find yourself standing before a series of 3 skateboard-like forms. Moving from left to right, the first 2 sculptures are hung vertically, meaning taller than they are wide, and the third sculpture hangs horizontally. You notice that the series of works are by artist Tracy Lee Nelson. You start with a sculpture on the far left side. The title of the piece is Canon Matawir. You note the media, digital artwork on skateboard. California Native, written in bold green text, stretches across the top 1/4 of the board and stands out from the solid black background. The remaining 3/4 of the skateboard display a Native American elder with feathers across the forehead and crown of the head. This figure is also clothed in a patterned garment with a diagonal strip of white across one shoulder and a diagonal strip with feathers across the other. All of the imagery, the figure's face, clothing, and feathers, are in solid, high-contrast black and white shapes. To help visualize, the face has C curves of solid black shadow under the cheekbones and across the upper eyelids. In contrast, the bridge of the nose, brow bones, and cheeks are solid white shapes, indicating highlights. You take a few steps to the right and stand before the skateboard in the center. You notice the wall in the gallery is slightly recessed here, creating a subtle niche space. The second piece is also digital media on skateboard entitled Full Blood to the Bone. You notice that the skateboard is almost all solid black. Across the very top and bottom is Gothic style text in white or light gray that reads Full Blood. Two bold letters, F and B, are positioned in the center of the board, enclosed in a thin circle. Again, the typeface used for F and B looks similar to Gothic or calligraphic lettering. Clusters of oval-shaped feathers encircle the F and B in the center. Like Nelson's previous skateboard, everything is high contrast, dark and light, with strong shapes and lines. You continue to the right and you find yourself standing in front of a third skateboard by Tracy Lee Nelson called The Last Skate Session, also digital media on skateboard, which hangs horizontally. A series of black, pyramid-like triangles with white circles in the center and black circles in between stretch across the top and the bottom of the skateboard in horizontal lines. The line of 8 triangles across the top point upward, while the 8 triangles across the bottom point down. A black horizontal line runs through the center of the board with imagery of feathers with flames at the tips and the text Full Blood, much like Nelson's Full Blood to the Bone artwork. In the board's center is a black diamond shape cropped at the top and bottom with a white silhouette at the center. A figure sitting on a horse with a small skateboard resting across the shoulders. Both the horse and figure lean forward, similar to a slouching position from weariness. The figures and horses' silhouettes look similar to the End of the Trail sculpture by sculptor James Earl Fraser, which show both a Native American man and his horse worn down in body and spirit. As you pause to take in each skateboard individually, as well as ponder how the 3 boards interact with and build upon each other, you find yourself thinking more deeply about history, erasure, and preservation of identity. And this concludes our audio descriptive tour of the Muckenthaler Cultural Center's Land as Kin exhibition, curated by artist and curator Amy Redfeather. As a reminder, this presentation included a handful of artists and artworks from the exhibition. For more information, including to learn more about past Land as Kin exhibitions, as well as upcoming Land as Kin events, please visit www.landaskin.org and www.landaskin.org/events. As we conclude, I would like to share a big thank you to the Muckenthaler Cultural Center staff for providing the opportunity and support to make this accessible virtual exhibition tour happen through the 2021 Artist in Residency program. For more information on the Muckenthaler Cultural Center, please visit www.themuck.org. Once again, my name is Erin Schalk, and it has been a great pleasure narrating this tour for you. Thank you very much for your time and following this tour all the way to completion. I wish you the utmost in health and safety for 2022 and beyond.